Question? Yeah. Well, if it's in play still, if you can hit it the next shot, that's the goal. You hit it, and then you find it, and you hit it again. But if there's boundaries on the course, so if there's, a street, and it's on the other side of the street, and it's off property, you have to basically leave it. Or if it's in someone's backyard, if it's out of bounds, you have to take a penalty shot. Or if it's in the water, you obviously normally can't get it in there. Question? The lowest number? Because as I mentioned, it averages about, for pro, 72 shots around, and for an average player, about 100. So if I'm taking, 120 shots or 130, that's more shots. So the better player has figured out that par of 4 on a hole, how to hit less shots on that hole. And that's the object, how to hit less, not score more points, hit less shots. You in the red?
If you hit a ball far, like 500 yards away, how do you know, if it got close, to the hole?
That's a good question. I mean, you sometimes you don't know where the ball ends up. Some of the holes curve and it can go around the corner. But usually, unless the furthest hitters in the game, if you can see where your ball ends up. If you hit a straight shot, usually you can see it. If you all probably have better eyesight than I do at this point, so you all can probably see the golf ball pretty well. Yep.
In golf, why do they have the flags in the holes?
That's a good question. So the golf hole might look like this little green device I have here, which is designed to be something you can putt to and putt the ball to. But normally that hole goes in the ground a little bit. If you're hitting, that was kind of almost like his question before. If you're hitting from a far distance away and you're hitting to a target that is called a green, you can't really see. You might not be able to see where that hole is on the green, but if there's a big flag sticking on it, like say the hole is here, the flag's sticking out of it, and you're hitting from far away, you can see that I want to hit to this part of the green. Or if it's over on that part of the green, if this rim is what we call a green, then you can see where the hole is, that flag. Then when you get on the green, you take the flag out. Question, how are we doing on time for questions? We have
about 10 minutes.
10 minutes? So, okay, we're going to, couple more questions, then we're going to do a little quick fun activity. Okay, so I'll do a couple more questions.
Why do people take the flag out when they're just about to hit it? When they're just about to hit the ball to the hole?
Because the hole is about the size of this cup here is about 4 inches wide. So if you put the flag in, it cuts the hole in half size-wise. So if you putt it, it can potentially bounce off the flag stick and not go in. So you take it out so the ball has a better chance to go in the hole. So it doesn't hit that flag stick and bounce out. But normally we're hitting far shots. We're not expecting to hit the hole right or hit the flag. So we keep it in until we get close to where we think we can hit it in the hole. Okay. Question?
Why do they do the lowest score in golf?
Why does the lowest win?
Yeah.
I think we kind of question similar to that, but it's the golf, the object is to hit the least amount of shots. The better shots you hit will probably make you hit less on that particular hole. And that's why if you're hitting bad shots, your score is probably going to be higher. It's going to take you more shots to get in. And that is usually, that's the person that's not going to win, hitting the most number of shots. So as I mentioned, on a hole, if the par is 4 on a hole, what's a good score? Anybody know? 4, good. 3 is really good, right? I mean, 2, you probably, 1 on a par 4 is really, really tough to do, but a 5 is probably an average score, 5 or a 6. But if you're making a 7 or an 8 on a, on a par 4, you're probably taking a lot of shots, or maybe hit a ball in the water at a penalty shot. Okay, a couple more questions. One in the front. That's a really good question, and that kind of goes into, maybe I could, go on that question and say, how do the people that are running the tournament, when you have 100 golfers on the golf course, and there's only one person running the tournament back at the clubhouse, how do they know you're being fair and you're, keeping the right score? So that was a good question. How do they know you have the fair equipment? You're only allowed 14 clubs in your bag, so it's kind of up. When I play in professional events, usually get paired with 3 other people, so there's 4 people in a group. It's up to you to notice what everyone else is doing, whether they have legal clubs in their bag, whether they have the correct amount and not too many, whether they're following the rules and not, say my ball is in some long grass and it fell to the bottom of it, whether they're not taking the ball and placing it on the top of the grass. You're not allowed to touch your golf ball until you get on the green. So making sure there's penalties for doing those things, and in golf it happens sometimes where someone breaks a rule and someone else in the group calls a penalty on them. And that's the same thing where if I were to play a hole, let's just say I made a 6 on the hole, and I walk off, the other people in your group are in charge of your score, so I might have someone's scorecard in my group, and when they finish the hole, I write down their score, and they write down my score. But if I get done with a hole and I say I had a 5 when I really had a 6, they might say, no, you had a 6. And you have to go over that and make sure you get the right score so that you're being fair and making sure the score is correct. All right, let's go with one more question. In the front.
Have you ever seen anyone take the ball and put it
Oh, I think when there's tournaments you play in, and then there's times where a member just might be out there playing on his own or with a friend, not in a tournament. Sometimes they might say they're a little bit older and that ball's in the bottom of the grass. That's a little tough to get out. So they're really not playing in a tournament in that situation. So they might just make it a little easier on themselves and do that. But when you're in a tournament, you have to play. They call the ball as it lies and play it where it sits. But when I grew up, I think the neat thing that golf teaches, and the last thing that I can talk about before we get into a quick activity, is what it teaches you. Because when I was a kid, it was probably, I started playing golf at the age of 5. I don't think I mentioned that at the start, but when I was about your age, I started playing in tournaments, and there were some kids that did that. There were some kids that would, walk off a hole and tell you they had a lower score than they did, or they might move their ball. So I've seen that. But what it does is it is a great game to teach you how to play by the rules, how to follow the rules. And sometimes nobody's watching, right? And your ball might be in the bottom of the grass, or it might have been in the woods and been right up against a tree, and no one's near you at that point. And that's what golf teaches you, is that integrity, right? I don't know if you know that word, what that means, integrity though. And it teaches you about things that you're going to do later in life. That, should I move this ball? Does anyone really see it right now? Maybe not, right? But if I move that ball from up against the tree, who would I be cheating? I'd be cheating myself. I mean, that's a great answer. So you look at it and say, well, no, I don't want to cheat. I want to play by the rules. And that's, golf tempts you though. There's a lot of times where you could. And that's what it, taught me. My dad taught me the game. That's one thing he taught me early on is, I wasn't even good when I started. He said, don't move the ball. And it taught me to hit out of bad spots, right? Because I can't move it when you all of a sudden, if you practice when you're playing on your own, like you mentioned, and you move the ball, and then you get to a tournament when people are watching, it might be tough for you because you're used to hitting off of perfect lies or from perfect spots. But that's part of the integrity of the game that it teaches you is, not to cheat, play by the rules, do the right thing. And that's why golf is such a great game. So we have a couple of minutes left?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to do a quick activity. I have a little hole here, golf ball, and some putters. I have some golf balls for prizes here, if anyone can knock it in. So what I'm going to do is put this cup down, and I'm going to put... No, I'm not going to make it too hard. So we're going to putt from basically right next